everyone. My name is Philip Bergman. I'm a cellist and Civic Fellow with the Civic Orchestra of Chicago. Let's talk about practice. The first thing most young musicians ask me is how much they should practice. Firstly, I think it's more important to make sure we get to the instrument every day than to set a goal for time. Second, rather than staring at the clock, I think it's more important to focus on accomplishing specific goals. There are two concepts that have made a big difference in the quality of my practice. First, when we practice, we come across what one of my teachers, Yuri Vardy, calls battlefields. Those passages that give us difficulty and cause fear of failure. Often we approach these passages by trying to bear down and work through them. But a more helpful strategy is to find a path that avoids these fears entirely. My second discovery is my favorite strategy around battlefields. It involves noticing a habit, exaggerating that habit, reversing that habit, and finally resting into a more balanced way of playing. I know that's a lot to chew on, but I'll give a specific example later. Okay, so let's go through what a typical day of practice looks like for your buddy Philip Bergman. I view my practice in three sections: a physical warm-up, what some might call stretching, a technical warm-up that includes exercises, scales, and finally, my time with repertoire. My physical warm-up takes about 10 minutes and addresses a variety of different areas of the body, from head to toe. I'm not so much focused on trying to become stronger or more flexible, but on drawing awareness to different places in my body and trying to become more open, to breathe more, etc. My full technical warm-up takes about an hour, 30-ish minutes of exercises and 20 or so minutes of scales with a break in between. It's gotten a little longer every year, and I don't think it has to be that long for everybody. I would say that it is important to have an expedited version of your routine for days when you just don't have time for everything. My selection of technical exercises always starts with long tones, so I can experience how the whole bow arm feels and work on tone, bow changes, etc. Then I move through a variety of exercises, mostly from Starker's organized method of string playing and Stephen Doan's cello ergonomics. Those exercises focus on a wide range of techniques for the bow and the left hand. Depending on what is challenging me at the moment, I will spend more time with some exercises than others, sometimes even adding exercises to address specific issues. Now we reach the biggest chunk of the practice session, repertoire. Each piece has different challenges, but we can use some similar strategies to address them. The most important thing is that we attend to our tendencies and always give ourselves specific and positive goals while we address those tendencies. Instead of running through large passages with the goal of don't mess up or don't play out of tune, try small sections with goals like try a crisper articulation, really get on top of that shift, or change color right on that bar line. Let's take, for example, the courant I played at the beginning of this video. I've been relearning that first Bach suite for an upcoming recital, and I have a lot of old habits from when I first learned it more than 15 years ago. Here's kind of what it sounded like the first time I read through it. The first thing I noticed was that I had a tendency to let my right arm lag during string crossings. How did I work on this? It's important to isolate a single concern and address it in a variety of ways. First, I exaggerated my tendency, playing slowly and allowing extra time between string crossings, but leaving my arm at the lower string level, like so. Then I reversed my tendency, still playing slowly and allowing time for the string crossings, but focusing on preparing the new string level early, like so. There are infinite options for how to use this technique. If I consistently undershoot an upward shift, I can try deliberately sharpening it a few times before finding exact intonation. If I consistently rush a passage, I might try deliberately slowing through it before playing it with metronome. Be creative in your practice sessions and allow yourself to fail productively in new ways every day. Practicing got much more fun for me when I connected my music to my humanity. I spend a lot of time in the practice room asking myself questions about why I'm fearful of certain passages, about how I might trust myself more fully, about my relationship with failure or with vulnerability. These questions have taught me a lot about myself, And by relating them to my life experience, I have found answers to both musical and personal questions. When I was younger, I heard professional musicians say their best practice sessions can happen on their worst days, and I always wondered why. Now that I can use my music as a meditative tool for working through my personal challenges, I can also say my most productive practice comes during my hardest days. I often find that the technical challenges I encounter are connected to an inability to fully inhabit the character of the music that I play. When I'm able to let go and have fun during the Haydn D major concerto, suddenly things work. When I find the searching, plaintive quality of the first movement of the Schumann concerto, the pieces fall into place. Part of the inspiration I get for these characters comes from my own life experience, but much of it comes from experiencing and creating stories in a variety of mediums. I can often draw on experiences from books, films, or television to tell my own stories, whether those are through words or through music. One of my favorite things about the Civic Fellowship has been the opportunity to develop and display skills like writing about my craft, songwriting, and composition that I have been honing in private since I was in high school. Thank you for watching. Make sure you check out some other practice tips videos and have fun exploring your instrument. Bye.